guys, and welcome back to my channel. So we are doing episode 7 of I'm a Celebrity. So I'm just going to jump straight into this. As you know, all the other videos will be linked up in the iCard for you guys to watch, as well as down below. We're going to jump straight into the atmosphere of camp. It seems the celebrities this year are struggling really early into the show. I do know that a week before they go into the jungle, they are kind of secluded into their hotel room. They don't know who's going to be there. They have their friends taken away. So I do know they've already been away from family and friends and everything they know for a while beforehand. But it does seem a little bit early to be worrying, particularly when they've been eating pretty well and they haven't had to worry about too much. There's not been overly too much drama, so I don't know. So the guys in camp were talking about their first kiss. Cliff told a story about how his first kiss was in a lift and they made out all the way up and then all the way down. She got out the lift, the door shut, someone else had to press the button and he went all the way back up. They have a bag song about the dinner bag that comes down, which we hear about in the trial, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. There's a very sweet moment between Jacqueline and Caitlin when they were sat in the hammock just talking about how neither wanted to be a leader, and so they said the other they just wanted to get by and survive and do the trials and do the best they could, which was very sweet. They seem to have created this really sweet friendship and bond, and hopefully when they leave the jungle they will continue that little friendship. And when Ant and Dec came and told them they were all doing the trial, they seemed to be super happy about it. I think because they're bored in there, which is obviously understandable. They have nothing to do but kind of lay around, look after camp and talk to one another, which you don't want to do all day every day. As for the campmates themselves, Cliff woke up still struggling. He slept better than he did in the jailhouse, but it's clear he is struggling with jungle life. But as the day went on, you did notice that Cliff's mood improved. He wasn't letting it get him down, which is great, and hopefully he will climatize a little bit better as time goes by. Cliff will be able to climatize a little bit more to the jungle and sleep and just settle better like everyone else has. We also figured out that Andrew gets hangry and very protective of food, so when food is brought up, that is when Andrew seems to kind of get snappy, and it was Kate and Jacqueline that pointed this out to him, and it was a big revelation for Andy, and it was something he openly acknowledged, he admitted to, and I think he's not the only one in there. I think Ian also gets hangry, and I think it's something they are both going to have to keep an eye on. So after the trial, they found a red chair in camp and some beds with in a little hut area, and they later found out they had to nominate a leader, so they all nominated. No one was allowed to tell anyone who they voted for, and in the end it was James who became camp leader, and he sat down, had a little bit of time to think, and he decided to make Jacqueline his deputy, and as leader and deputy they had to decide who did what chores. So they went and sat by the creek where they can all swim and bath, etc., and they seemed to be sat there a really long time while they discussed who did what, why they should be doing that, and they picked chores that suited people best. So for example, Caitlin had been doing the washing up anyway. Caitlin really seemed to enjoy the washing up, and so they kept her with the washing up, and Andrew got paired with her to help with that, just carrying it up and down, while Ian, for example, also got to do kind of looking after the camp, so sorting the dunny out, helping kind of carry things around, making sure that the camp was clean, and Kate and Adele were on gas duty, so they had to go pump the gas to make sure the tank was full, and they had to do that twice a day. So I think they picked things that were good for everybody and put them with people that either they don't think have had a chance to bond properly yet, or who need a little bit, or with people they work really well with to get jobs done quicker, etc. So I think Jacqueline and James did a really good job of thinking through the chores and the jobs that needed to get done and who would work best with who, or who needed more time with someone to bond. And just before we move on to the trial, they also got their luxury items. So Caitlin got her fancy moisturizer. Andy bought lip balm for everyone. There was a blow-up chair. Ian had music so they could play it for a certain amount of time each day. And I guess the bit that made me giggle and smile the most was dear Cliff. Cliff Parisi decided to be super original, and he brought in a Christmas tree, one of those mini Christmas trees, a bit like that one there, for his luxury item. So they have a baby Christmas tree to keep them all festive for the Christmas season. I thought that was super original and something we hadn't seen. I did also notice that Nadine and Andrew were having kind of a hard day. They really seemed to be low and struggling in general, particularly after the trial, which is a little bit sad, but hopefully they will keep relying on each other. And Andrew particularly went to James and Jacqueline and just admitted he was exhausted, and they cheered him up and told him he was doing great and to keep going. And then Nadine went and had a little cuddle with James, which I have found out the internet went crazy about, which I don't see why. He's married, he's happily married, and from what I can gather from a little bit of what his wife said on social media, he's a naturally affectionate person and she is not worried about her husband trying to comfort a friend. So moving on to the trial. Everyone was doing the trial today, and the trial was called Pest Office.
These are cow's eyes. For each eye that is eaten, you will win 1 star.
Let's find out who's going to be doing it. Caitlin.
And the outlaws stood in a jail and they had critters dropped on top of them, cockroaches, mealworms, things like that, while the others had to do things. And it turned out the others had to hold animals in their mouths. So Ian had to hold a huntsman spider. Surprisingly, Ian was super calm throughout it. He was obviously uncomfortable, obviously. He was very freaked out about the huntsman spider, and he kept telling everyone to tell everyone that he loved them and he was going to die. But when he completed his time with the huntsman spider in his mouth, he did a victory lap with the spider still in his mouth. So that was funny, but he was obviously proud of himself, and I think he should be, considering he was really scared to do the spider. And for every 3 stars that they won, they got to release a outlaw. So the first outlaw that was released was Kate, then Jacqueline, and then Miles, and then the other 2 were released. Caitlin had to hold a yabby in her mouth for 30 seconds. There were lots of jokes and that she was being quiet and things like that, but she again found it super easy and was unfazed by it, and she was quite happy to do it. Nadine had cockroaches. She had 6 cockroaches. She had to pour them into her mouth and hold them there for 30 seconds. It took her a couple of seconds to get all 6 cockroaches in her mouth, but kind of who can blame her. But when she did, she was super unfazed. She wasn't bothered about it, and she wasn't as squeamish as I thought she would be. I generally thought that Nadine would struggle with the trials, I have to admit. So the fact that she didn't was a surprise to me. Cliff was the 3rd person to go in, and he was the first person to release someone, and he chose Kate, and he had to hold mealworms in his mouth, and he was super unfazed by it. He thought it was kind of funny. He asked if he could eat them. Everyone laughed and thought it was great, but then again, Cliff was starting to get hungry, I guess. That man seems to always have food on his mind, but unlike Andrew and Ian, he does not get hangry, which is nice. And then to get the last 2 celebrities out of the jail, 4 people had to eat something. So James and Caitlin had to eat, which made their tongues black. It was horrible. James went first. He went straight in there. He did it super easy, was unfazed by it. Caitlin went next. Again, she was unfazed. She did have a little bit of a gag reflex and struggled a little bit, but she managed to keep it down. She ate it super fast and was super unbothered by it, which is great. And then Nadine and Adele had to eat a cow's anus. Nadine went first. She was not at all fazed by it. She didn't seem to struggle. It took her a while to chew it and get it down, but the teammates encouraged her and told her to just do it and to swallow it when she was ready, not to force it. And then Adele, who had already done an eating trial, was again unfazed by it, and she did it super quick, got it done and dusted so that they could have all 12 stars. stars, and they could have a good meal and everyone could go back to camp. The only one to end this episode on is the fact we got to hear about the new trial Crevices of Cruelty, and we also got to find out who it's going to do it. And sadly, Jacqueline was voted to do it again, but this time Ian's going with her, so we will see how Ian does. Ian has kind of been grumpy when people have come back, or there's been an issue with stars, like when Jacqueline and Miles took the stars with them to the jailhouse. So I think earning his food might help him to appreciate it a little bit more, and he might be less grumpy with people about how many stars they get or where they take them from now on, as he has been through the ordeal himself. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also, click that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you get notified when I upload, and I will see you all next time. Bye!